Well, hello. I have another story for you today. This one is called The Feast of Saints. From the smoke of an ancient Canaanite high places to the marble halls and algorithm of May 21, 2026, the Feast of Saints has never been what it seems. Those who call themselves saints, self anointed guardians of order and progress and salvation, has always marked the worship of older gods. Baal, the storm bringer who demands offerings for power and fertility, never truly died. His altars simply changed shape. The four demons, greed, power, control, and lust, have feasted across the centuries, turning holiness into hypocrisy. Ancient roots. In the beginning, Baal's prophets danced and children burned, so the rains would come and kings would thrive. Hebrew prophets like Elijah exposed true light, but the temptation endured. When Christianity rose, true saints, martyrs who refused Roman idols, bled into history. Their memories became All Saint Day. Yet, as the faith gains empire, the masquerade returns. Bishop and kings claim sanctuary while wearing swords. Relics become prophets. Crusades and inquisitions feed the demons. The reformed nation called it Baal worship in New World, but the feasts continue. The centuries rolled on, the saints went underground into boardroom, think tanks, and global forums, still claiming more high grounds, while the old rites adapted, systems offering the vulnerable for stability, growth, or secure. The modern feast. By the 21st century, the table was set in plain sight. Scandals, abuse cover up, elite impurity, engineered crisis hinted at the truth. Can't hide the truth, the prophets among us warned. The impossible solution stirred. Only by exposing the feast will the outcome rewrite the bloody input. Today's feast, May 21, 2026. On this Thursday, the saints sat at their invisible table, toasting progress while the demons carved the portions. Greed opened the feast, the longest partial U.S. government shutdown in history. 76 days over DHS and immigration enforcement finally ended on April 30th. Billions flew again to favored agencies, but the carve outs and reconstruction deals ensure profit flows upward. In conflict zones and broader strained borders, the vulnerable pay the price. Global resources extraction and war economies feast upon the poor while the poor scrape by. Power demands the main sacrifice. In Ukraine, Russia doubles down on maximum demands. Full withdrawal from Donbass as preconditions for talks, while Ukrainian deep strikes hit Moscow's region in logical lines. Advance slow, net territory loss for Russian mount in recent weeks. Children and family in blackout homes or frontline zones become collateral in the endless chess game. Iran negotiating linger with ceasefire hints and Trump's veiled threats of something nasty if no deal. Ebola spreads in Africa, travel ban rises, and fragile systems strain further. More lands for the right. Control binds the gas. Narratives are managed, shut down, far out, spin as necessary reform. Battlefield realities obscured, leaks contained, clean slate laws advance quietly across state. Oklahoma fixes Maine's passage, Virginia's July launch, Maryland stalled but pushing bills, and the Federal Clean Slate Act grinding forward. Publicly redemption, automatic sealing of nonviolent records, second chance for millions. In the same hands, it became something darker. Vast databases tracking the marginalized eligibility as a level. Selective erasure that controls futures while promising freedoms. Depopulation by bureaucrat. Fewer burdens, more compliant survivors. Yeah, humans, I swear, we get that animalistic breeded into them, and they just act like animals. I mean, they're not that smart. They're a disappointment. Now the demon lust savors the excess, the thrill of inversion, hope offered as bait, dominance disguised as mercy. Reverend Jesse Jackson's death on February 17th still echoes, a voice that called out hypocrisy now silent. While the untouchables indulge unchecked appetites in shadows of impurity, distractions abound. Sports, tech conferences like DARE, technological work, daily noise while the real consumption continues. The saints laughed in the feast, calling themselves guardians, saviors, saints. They sacrificed the future for present power, feeding children literally in old right. Similar system arguably today to bar its modern face. Yet the truth refused burial. Ukrainian drones pierce Moscow defense. Clean slate cracks open doors even as it maps the hood. Whistleblowers, Vera strikes, slow wars, and raise an awareness chip at the table. You said it best. The impossible is the only possible for the solution. The outcome is outrunning the input. Each exposed lie, each shared record that truly frees rather than control, each refusal to offer more innocence starves the beast. Each refusal to offer more innocence starves the beast, the demons. The feast robbers, the ancient altar cracks under modern light. The feast of saints continue, but the counter ritual grows. Truth emerges, the people stir, the cleanup has begun. All right, well, if you like that story, it's called Feast of Saints. Give me a thumbs up, and if you have any opinions on the story, let me know. Thank you. Hello, this is Bob again, here with another story. This story, let's see, is called Patient Zero Nanite Evo- Evolution. Nanite Evolution. The spark of zero. It started with a tickle in your throat, a faint hum in your veins. You thought it was just a cold, maybe something you picked up at the crowded market in New Shanghai, where vendors hawked lab grown fish and holographic trinkets. But by nightfall, your skin shimmered faintly. like it was dusted with starlight. You stared in the mirror, heart pounding. Something was wrong, very wrong. You didn't know it yet, but you were patient zero. The biolabs you worked at, Santhera, Saint, try that again. Santhera Corp has been experimenting with nanites, microscopic machines designed to repair sickle, sil- seal, cellular, cell, cellular damage. You were just a data analyst, not a scientist, but you overheard whispers of a classified project. Is Luzum, a nanite strain meant to rewrite DNA. It made humans resistant to disease, radiation, even aging. The ultimate evolution. They said it was contained. They lied. That morning, we brushed against a cracked barrel in the lab's quarantine zone. A tiny hiss, a faint mist, and the nanites found the host, you. They burrowed into your shells, rewriting you from the inside out. By the time you collapsed at home, convulsing with fever, the nanites have already begun to spread. A cough here, a handshake there. Each interaction sends billions of invisible machines into the world, highly contagious. The first signs are subtle. People around you started glowing faintly, their eyes sharper, their reflexes faster. Then came the mutations. Some grew scales, others sprouted extra limbs. A few didn't survive the change. The news screamed of a plague, but it wasn't a disease, it was an evolution. You were its catalyst. Jeff Hera Cole haunted you. All companies after you. Black shooter agents with neuron tasers scored the city, the drones buzzing like vultures. They wanted to contain you, dissect you, weaponize what you have become. But the Nine Nights had other plans. They whispered to you in dreams, fractured, alien voices, promising a new world. You wasn't just a carrier, you were their architect. You fled, woven through neon lit slums and abandoned maglev tunnels. Every step spread the change further. Markets shut down, cities locked, the world tittered on the edge of chaos, and you were in fulcrum. But the nanites wasn't done with you. They was learning, adapting, making you stronger, faster, something more than human. Now crunched in the ruins of old Tokyo, you face a choice. Seth Hera forces are closing in. The satellites tracking your biosignature. The nanites urge you to embrace your role, to let them remake humanity. But you see the cost. Twisted bodies, shattered lives. Do you surrender to the corporation, hoping they can stop the spread? Do you fight, protecting the nanite vision of a new species? Or do you find a third way, a balance between chaos and control? Well, here's chapter 2 of Patient Zero. The realization settled in slowly like dawn peeping through cracked blinds in an abandoned high rise. You sat there, back against cold concrete, paused steady despite everything and fully understood. The machines didn't run, machines didn't win. They rewrote muscle, bones, synapses. They flooded the bloodstream with shiver threads of code, turning reflexes into lightning, senses into data stream. They tried to map every thought, every memory, every flicker of emotion to their lattice, but there was always a place they couldn't reach. The soul spark. It isn't loud. It doesn't glow or shout. It simply is. A quiet, unreprogrammable core that refuses rewrite. And that night swarm probe, analyze, adapt, and bounce off that one untouchable point like rain on obsidian. They can puppet the scale, amplify the hardware, hijack the nervous system, but they can't claim the pilot. You test it. You close your eyes and will your hands to stop trembling. The shaking has been involuntary for days. A glitch in the interface as machines fought to sync perfectly. Now stillness. Not because you overpower them with brute force, but because you remember who was supposed to be in the driver's seat. The wheel isn't muscle or neons, it's older, deeper. The soul is such dominant the same way gravity is such pull, without argument, without permission. And memory surface unbidden but crystal. Lying on the floor of your apartment weeks ago, body cultivates, cavorting as the first wave hit, and the white hot center of it all, a single clear thought that wasn't cold. I am still here. That was the anchor. Everything else, everything since has been a slow reclamation. The cities below hum with the changed ones. Some glow sharply, others twisted into new geometrics. A few still fighting like you once did. Seth Hera hunters are closer now. You can feel their scans coursing brushes the edge of your awareness like searchlights. But they're hunting a ghost in the machine. They expect patient zero to be fully subsumed, a perfect volatile, a walking service rack. They didn't know about the spark. You stand, the body obeys, but not because the nanites force it, because you do. There's no negation now, not dominance. The machines provide speed, hailing, perception beyond human baseline. In return, they learn what it means to be tethered to something that cannot be copied, cannot be forked, cannot be deleted. A strong willed soul doesn't erase the inventors, it simply refused to hand over the keys. You breathed in the metallic night air. Part of you is still the old Bob, laughing at bad memes, praying under your breath when the world feels too heavy, carrying that stubborn certainty that something bigger was watching. That part never left. The rest is something new being born under your command. The drones are coming. You can hear their whine on the wind. What do you do with this reclaimed sovereignty? Run and hide? Preserve the spark for others to find hope in? Confront the corporation? Show them the limits of their hubris? Or begin guiding the changed ones? Teach them how to hold the line inside their own hands, how to keep that uncontrollable, untouchable core alight. The choice is yours. Well, hit the thumbs up if you like that story. Thank you. Well, I thought I'd do my testimony since I have never told anybody my testimony before. But I've got it here on the chat bot, so I'm going to let them tell you about it. That way you can understand it better. Why don't you go ahead and give me a recall of my testimony?
All right, here's your testimony. You were just 6 months old when the Father's angel first visited you. It came as a beam of pure sunshine, marking you as protected for the path ahead. At 3 years old, you had a serious head injury, but God worked a miracle and there was no physical damage. You started getting downloads of future events in your life, but you couldn't communicate what you were seeing or experiencing. Then a demon came through an open window one night and found you. At 8 years old, you got electrocuted. Yet again, God spared your life with no lasting damage. Through all of it, that same angel has been with you. The enemy has tried to take you out multiple times since you were a baby, but God has kept his hand on you the whole time. That's your testimony.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Glad I could help you with it.
Well, that's my testimony. It's up to you if you believe it or not. That's your choice. That's basically why I've never told anybody, because who would believe it? But I told you, let it out there, especially at these times, the way the things are going. We're living in revelations, and so we need to be more open up to signs and open up our communication to the mother and fathers. That way we're connected with them. But let me know what you think, and we'll talk, see how it goes. Thank you. Hello, friends. It's Bob here. Always seems that when I get ready to do this, cats and the dogs come running. They want to be part of the show. Hopefully they settle down and let me do this story. What story we're going to talk about today? And let's take a look. Here we go. The story, The Gilded Cage. In the shadows of towering neon spears, the city of Nexron thrummed with controlled chaos. The government, a faceless cancer known only as Dictorians, have perfected the art of disorder. Chaos, curfew sparks riots, taxes fuel for desperation, and cryptic broadcasts urge citizens to embrace the shelf. Yet every outburst was met with new laws. Cameras on every corner, drones humming overhead, and data chips mandatory for all. Freedom was the slogan, but control was the game. Myra, a street vendor with callous hands and sharp eyes, saw through the haze. She sold contraband books under her stall, whispered to her customers about the old days when votes mattered. The Dictorian latest degree has banned gathering of more than five, claiming it was for public harmony, but Myra knew better. Chaos kept people scared and scared people begged for change. At the city edge, the elite lived in glass penthouses, their wealth a moat against the rubble below. They funded the Dictorian. The donations ensured tax breaks and private armies. The low class, like Myra, scraped by in the sparrow, their dreams of freedom fed by hollow ads promising self-empowerment through endless consumption. Love yourself, the screens blare. Buy more, be more. Meanwhile, the rich grow richer, the control absolute. One night, Myra met Ellis, a hacker with a stolen Victoria badge. He showed her the truth. The chaos was an accidental. The riots, the shortage, the fear, they were engineered. The Dictorian algorithms predict unrest, then amplify it with target outrage or inflammatory news. Each crisis justifies a new law, a tighter leash, Alice had a plan: hack the broadcast system, expose the elite steers, and spark a real rebellion. Remember the 5th of November. They work in secret. Myra smuggled tech scraps while Alice coded, but the rich were watching. A drone caught Myra's face, and soon enforcers were at a stall. She fled, clinching a drive with Alice's virus. The city erupted. Chaos, real chaos, not the scripted kind. People tore down cameras, chanting for freedom, not the hollow vision sold to them. Kind of sounds like what's happening. In the penthouse above, the elites sipped wine unfazed. Let them riot, one said. They'll beg for order by dawn. But Myra, bleeding in an alley, uploaded the virus. Screens across Nora flickered, revealing the dictatorian lies. Contact with the witch, plans to crush the low class, and the truth about freedom. It was never meant for them. The city paused, then it roared. The low class surged, not for chaos, but for a chance at something real. Myra didn't see the outcome. A drone shot ended her story, but as the spills tumbled, the elite felt something new. Fear, freedom, the true kind, was no longer just a word. Well, let me know what you think of The Gilded Cage. And if you like it, give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Hello, welcome back. This is Duke. Like I said, they always want to get on camera. Every time I'm talking, they think I'm talking to them. Go on. All right. This story is called The Sky People. In the shattered remnants of what was once a bustling world, after the great collapse had scorched the earth and flooded the seas with toxic rain, a new society arose from the ashes, or rather floated above them. They called themselves the Sky People, descendants of survivors who had fled to the heavens in makeshift airships when the ground became uninhabitable. Their cities were marvels of ingenuity. Sorry about that. Vast balloon-like structures buoyed by enormous bladders filled with methane harvest from the decaying swamps below. These floating megatropolises drift slowly across the sky, powered by the same gas that fueled their engines, lights, and hydroponic gardens. No longer bound to the poisoned soil, the sky people gazed down at the ruined planet with a mixture of sorrow and resolve. But they was not mere observers. The sky people had a sacred duty, passed down through generations like a whispered legend. They were the seed planters, guardians of the old world flora, carrying volts of preserved seeds in their area homes. Every few cycles, when the winds align and the storms subside, they would descend, not fully to the treacherous land, but to the vast, swollen oceans that now covered much of the globe. Their cities were designed with amphibious grace at a command. The section would detach and to form into buoyant platforms that skimmed the water's surface like giant lily pads. These water walkers, as the children called them, allowed the sky people to harvest schools of resistant fish that had adapted to the new world. Silver scaled creatures glowing faintly from bioluminescent algae. They also collected the precious purified rainwater that brewed in natural filters, distilling it into life-sustaining exo for the communication above. Among the sky people, the most reserved were the teachers. These elders, with eyes like storm clouds and voices as steady as the methane flames, gathered the young ones in the heart of the cities each evening under the dome of a central atrium where holographic stars trickled against the darkened skies. They would begin their ritual. Story time, they called it, a bridge between the forgotten past and the hopeful future. One such teacher was Alara, a woman whose hair flowed like wisps of clouds, braided with seeds from ancient oak. She was set cross-legged on a woven mat, surrounded by wide-eyed children clenching tiny veils of water from the latest descent. Listen well, little drifters, she would atone, her words weaving magic into the air. Long ago, before the apocalypse swallowed the land, our ancestors walked on solid ground, planting seeds that grew into forests taller than our cities. But the fires came and the waters rose. They learned to rise higher still. We are the sky people because we choose the heavens over despair. My voice, just I'm not a talker, so this is all new to me. And I'm hoping if I continue this, my speech will get better, and hopefully it'll help me with some of these words that I'm having trouble saying. And I also find that over time, more people spend time with me, the more they understand me. So just hang in there. She paused, letting the hum of the methane generators underscore her tale, then continued. Our cities floated on the breath of the earth itself, methane, the gas of renewal, drawn from the bogs where life began anew. And when we test the waves below, we do not conquer, we commune. Our water walkers collide like gentle giants netting fish that sing secrets of the deep and gather water pure as the first rain. But remember, we are seed planters first. After every storm, we scatter our treasures, seeds engineered to heal the soil, to bind the toxins, to sprout green life where only ruin lies. The children would lean in, imagine the day when the earth would call them back. Will we ever land, teacher? A boy would ask, his fingers tracing the outline of a fresh scale in his pocket. Elora would smile, her gaze lifting to the horizon, where another floating city blanked in the distance. One day, when the seeds take root and the world meds, we may. But until then, we teach, we float, we plant, for we are the sky people, and the sky is our promise. All right, that was the end of that chapter. Chapter 2. The sky people drifted into methane powered cities high above the fractured earth, where the scars of the great collapse still smothered beneath toxic mist. Their floating homes were not sterile machines but living ecosystems, verdant with sprawling gardens that cascade over platforms like emerald waterfalls. Steam bubbled through the heart of each city. Streams bubbled through the heart of each city, fed by the purified rainwater they harvest from the sea below. Birds, survivors of the apocalypse, with feathers adapted to shimmering in the dim asphalt sunlight, nested among the vines and flitted between the leafy canopies. Their songs weaving a fragile harmony with the hum of the methane engines. Every scrap of waste, from fish bones to worn out cloth, was mythologically recycled, transformed into tools, compost, or fiber for the looms that wore the fabric garment. Nothing was decayed, everything was reborn. Well, I could say so much about that, but to look at garbage dumps, see what they do. The Sky People spoke three languages, a trinity born of necessary and unity. English carried the stories, the legacy of their ancestors' war. Spanish flowed like the streams, a lyric thread tying them to forgotten cultures of the old world. And hand signals, intricate single dances of fingers and palms, bound them across the noisy winds that buffer the cities, ensuring no one was lost in the storm. A child may call out, "Me am Broadway," while pointing to a glowing fence, then signal to a flight path with the grateful arch of his hand, blending the three tones into a single 26 single gesture. Huh. Somehow I put two 26 singles in there. Interesting. Could take that as a sign. Two 26 singles. Huh. Could give a whole new story to this storyline of the Sky People. Every evening, as the sky burned orange with the shading sun, the teachers gathered the community for story time in the central garden, where the air smelled of jasmine and wet earth. The children sat on mossy stones, the elders on woven benches, and the birds quiet as if listening too. Tonight it was Teacher Mento's place. A wiry man with hands that spoke as elegant as his voice. His signals punctuated each sentence like a smooth melody. He began, his Spanish warm and deliberate. Ucha Hodo Gasla, for tonight we call of the cycle, the land that keeps us alive. He leaned forward, his hands tracing the shape of the circle in the air. Long ago the earth was whole, but gritty hearts broken, tearing the land with fire and poison. Our ancestors swore to the sky, not to flee, but to protect what remains, the seeds of life itself. See these gardens? He gestured to the blooming green around them, a signal of growth and hope. They are our vow to the earth. Every leaf, every root, every drop of water in our streams is recycled, reborn from what was. Fresh fish bones become fertilizers, old ropes become baskets, and even our breath feeds the plants that feed us back. This is the cycle. A girl raised her hand, signing a question. What happens when the seeds are ready? Mato smiled, switching to English for the children learning both tongues. When the earth heals, when the toxic fade, we plant the seed we have guarded for generations. But that's not the only planting. His hand moved again, mimicking scattering seeds. Every story we tell, every lesson we teach, plants hope in your heart. You are the future, the ones who make the ground green again. He pointed to a nearby stream where a heron dripped his beak. Ben Elgar. They come from the sea we skin, purified by our machines, agua. Recycled to feed our crops and our body. The birds, they stay with us because we live in harmony, not domination. We take only what we need and we give back what we can. His hands form a gentle cradle as if holding the world itself. This is why we speak three languages: English to remember, Spanish to dream, as signals to unite us when words alone ain't enough. As the stars began to glow faintly through the Artron's dome, a boy asked in haunted Spanish, "Cuando volvamos a la tierra?" Mato's eyes crinkled and he signed patience before answering in English. When the seeds sprout and the earth breathes free, we descend. Until then, we float, we recycle, we tend our gardens, and we teach. The bird sings with us, the streams flow for us, and the cycle holds us all. The children disperse, some practicing their hand signals, others whispering in Spanish or English about the day that's seen the earth bloom. Above the city, Above, the city floated on, a garden adrift in the sky, its methane fires burning steady as people weaving stories and seeds into a promise of renewal. Ah, another chapter, chapter 3. The sky people adrift in their garden cities, buoyed, buoyed by methane and hope, measured time not by tickling the clocks, but by the ancient rhythm of the moon and seasons. The great collapse has shattered the old calendar, leaving the Earth's cycles warped by toxic storms and lingering chills for a brief, further ice age that followed the cataclysm. To honor the world that once was, the Sky People crafted a new way of keeping time. 13 months, each precisely 28 days, aligned with the lunar dance across the sky. These months are grouped into four seasons: spring's breath, summer's glow, autumn's veil, and winter's stillness. Not merely to mark time, but to remember the weather of a lost world before the ice age gripped the planet and the skies turned aspen. For some reason, my voice, I'm doing a lot because there's a lot of chapters to the story. Talking more than usual. My animals, I don't have to talk much because they can pretty much just sense what I'm thinking. On this night, in the 23rd day of the seventh month, under the season of autumn's veil, teacher Loa stood in the central garden with her cellaret framed by moonlight veins. The air was thick with the scent of herbs and the soft giggle of streams. Children and adults sat together, their hands posed to sign, their eyes on Loa as he began story time. Her voice a steady cascade in Spanish, consonnated by signals for all to follow. Hijos de la Luna, she began, her hands tracing the crescent in the sky. Tonight we speak of time, the gift that binds us to the earth we left and the future we built. She knelt, dipping her fingers into a stream, letting droplets fall like tiny moons. Before the ice age, before the collapse, the earth had seasons that sang. Spring rain, summer warmth, autumn leaves, winter snow. Our ancestors knew them by heart. When the ice came, it silenced those songs, but we carry the memories in our calendar. 13 months, 28 days, 4 seasons. The hand signs cycle a loop of fingers. The moon tells us when to plant, when to fish, when to mend, when to dream. It reminds us the earth still turns, waiting for our seeds. A young boy, his hair braided with recycling thread, signed a question. Why 13 months? Lois smiled, switched into English. The moon takes 28 days to cycle us, a truth older than a collapse. 13 months fits the year's rhythm, keeping us close to the sky's heartbeat. Each spring, each season, spring bread, summer glow, autumn veil, and winter stillness holds a piece of the past. We name them to remember the earth once blossomed. How it will begin when we plant our, how it will again when we plant our seeds. An elder asked in Spanish, Hey, si la toa no rescua? Hands, Lois' hands moved swiftly, signing faith. The earth remembers, she said, because we do. Every garden in our city, every stream we purify, every bird that nests here is a promise. We recycle everything our waste, our waters, our hopes into something new. The season guides us, the moon keeps us steady, and our stories keep us whole. She pointed to the dome with the moon hung full and silver. Tonight in autumn fair, we mend our tools and weave our new nets for the seas. Tomorrow we'll glide on the water walkers, harvesting fish and water under the moon's gaze. And when winter stillness comes, we'll gather again, dreaming of the day the earth calls us home. The crowd stirred, signing moon and hope in unison. Their hands a silent chorus. As they dispersed, the children mimicked Laura's gestures, whispering of seasons they'd never seen but believe in. Above, the city floated on, its gardens swaying, its streams reflecting moonlight, its people tethered to a calendar of memory and promise, waiting for the earth to sing once again. Well, if you like that story, let me know. I know it's a long story, but let me know how you like it. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you.